We're following breaking news as we come on the air tonight.
This after a train derailed in Greenville. Lydia Bice has been there since the news broke. And Lydia, was anyone hurt?
Luckily, no one was injured as a result of this train derailment here in Darke County this afternoon. We have now confirmed that 3 train cars derailed right near the intersections of State Route 571 and State Route 49, and all 3 of those cars contained ethanol.
The trains are always, they come through once or twice a day, always very slowly, never any problems. And I'm really surprised at everything that happened.
A quiet community in shock this afternoon as a R.J. Corman train derailed, overturning 3 tankers hauling ethanol in Greenville near State Routes 49 and 571.
Came off the tracks and this was all actually blocked. So that what we've done is separated the train.
Morgan Curfew works at the Shell station just feet away from where these cars derailed.
I kind of heard it. It was just kind of like a weird thump, and the building kind of shook a teeny bit. But other than that, it wasn't really too loud.
Now the concern is cleanup.
It's R.J. Corman, and they're on their way. But like I said, they're assembling teams from around the state for the cleanup process, which we expect to be pretty lengthy.
We asked Greenville police and fire crews if they thought there was reason for residents to be concerned about hazardous materials.
Like I said, at this point, there's no reported hazmat issues. No one on the train was injured or bystanders, so we're lucky there.
But Kathleen
This is asking for your help to find this man here. 53-year-old Willie Couch was last seen last Tuesday, January 16th in Union Township. Now he's a United States Army veteran and may have an altered mental status. He's roughly 6 foot, 190 pounds with brown hair, blue eyes. If you have any information on where he may be, you're asked to call 911 or the Miami County Communications Center. The number is there on your screen.
We have a live look now at I-70 at 675. A much smoother commute tonight compared to this morning when all lanes were closed at one point after a semi-truck fire. The woman driving the truck saw the smoke, pulled over, and was able to get out of the truck safely. Luckily, no one else was injured, police say. The deputy fire chief reminding drivers tonight, slow down, especially when crews are responding to an emergency like that one.
Ohio Senate Republicans want to do away with Ohio's income tax. Now, the money that comes out of your paycheck. They also want to cut commercial activity tax. That's the tax businesses spend just for the privilege of doing business here in Ohio. The new proposal was introduced today and would span over the next 10 years. So how could this affect you? Stephanie Dupre has been at the State House all day and breaks it down for us.
Well, reps say the goal is to make Ohio an economic engine. Now, if this were to pass, Ohio would become the 10th state nationally to do it. If passed, Senate Bill 327 would take a little over 10 years to implement. Now, to give you some perspective here, income tax rates depend on what a person earns, right? Well, under the current Ohio law, people making less than about $26,000 a year don't pay income tax here in Ohio. Those individuals in the upper tier who make more than $200,000 a year pay the state close to 5% of their earnings in income tax. Now, we asked how the bill would be modified to protect the middle class.
We're only looking at what we're doing at the state level, and keep in mind there are a tremendous percentage of taxpayers in Ohio today that don't pay anything. So this will not be a burden on those people today that are lower income earnings, but it will be a blessing to those people that are the ones that are driving our economy.
Now, Lang argued that getting rid of this tax would attract more business, and that would replace the money lost with this bill. Reporting in Columbus, I'm Stephanie Dupre.
Well, for the first time, the U.S. has no money to offer Ukraine in the war with Russia. Lisa at the Now Desk, why is this exactly?
So, Adam, Congress actually hasn't passed a budget or approved any more aid to Ukraine, which means no more money, ammunition, or missiles are being sent to the country this time. Just today, the U.S. hosted the monthly gathering of 50 countries. During that meeting, U.S. defense officials encouraged allies to bridge the gap. More than $110 billion in aid for both Ukraine and Israel is now in limbo. This as Congress spars over other policy priorities and raises concerns about the Biden administration's strategies in both countries.
We got less than 2 hours now until the polls close in New Hampshire. The political world focused on the first in the nation primary. Brian Crandall breaks down what's happening as voters cast their ballots.
We're going to go and fight until the very last poll closes.
Nikki Haley makes her final pitch outside a polling place in Hampton, New Hampshire. She's the only Republican left in the way of Donald Trump once again being the party's nominee.
I didn't get here because of luck. I got here because I outworked and outsmarted all the rest of those fellas. So I'm running against Donald Trump, and I'm not going to talk about an obituary just because y'all think we have to talk about it.
People are upset in this country. They're really upset.
I talked to Trump's son Eric in Nashua, seeming already to be looking ahead to another general election showdown with Joe Biden.
People want to get back to the basics. They want to have the greatest economy in the world. They want to have the best education in the world. They want low prices. They want cheap fuel. They want businesses to be able to succeed. They want their family to be able to live the American dream. And that's what my father stands for.
Polls close across the state by 8 o'clock. Nikki Haley has already signaled that she'll be staying in the race. She has an event scheduled tomorrow night in South Carolina. In Nashua, New Hampshire, I'm Brian Crandall.
Well, there's new fallout over a ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court on the Texas border. Why immigration is now the top issue on voters' minds.
Tomorrow, volunteers are surveying the streets to count the unsheltered population homeless. The impact this count has on the resources available across the county.
And more rain is on the way. How much more we're expecting, that's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Several fiery sunrises of note this morning, from the shores of South Carolina to the savanna of Kenya's famed Amboseli National Park. Quite a buildup of icicles in Tennessee's Great Smoky Mountains, and strong winds and a westerly flow helped create these standing lenticular clouds over Mount Washington. Typically it's just 1 or 2 layers, but the biggest one had 7.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday.
A fierce battle over the Texas border not letting up despite a ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court. As state officials argue the federal government is failing in its duty to secure the border, federal officials say they're not being allowed to. All of this set against the backdrop of a country that cares more deeply about this issue than ever. Here's Christine Frizzell.
Not the economy, not crime on the streets. Immigration has now moved to the top of voters' minds. A new Harvard-Harris poll finding 35% called it the most important issue facing the country today, followed by inflation, the economy and jobs, and crime. That snapshot of sentiment likely stemming from new realities playing out in cities large and small. The city of Denver taking in 37,000 migrants, providing them with housing and jobs, and asking the federal government to help with the cost.
We have spent more than $40 million this year. We are on path to spend about $180 million in 2024, which would be more than 10% of our city's budget.
The state of Texas losing its battle to secure the border itself. The U.S. Border Patrol will now be able to remove razor wire state officials installed to try to prevent migrants from entering. The Supreme Court Monday siding with President Biden's Justice Department.
The Biden administration was arguing that the Texas law enforcement was essentially circumventing and usurping the power of the U.S. federal government, who has exclusive purview in the enforcement of immigration law.
Critics say the ruling makes our country less secure.
This isn't just a victory for Biden's open border policy. This is a victory for the cartels, who are now going to be able to exploit the border more easily to push drugs, criminals, and national security threats into our country.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says despite the high court's ruling, he is not backing down, continuing to use Texas National Guard troops to, quote, hold the line in Eagle Pass. Meanwhile, a bill to deal with some of the many border issues appears to be nearing completion in the Senate. On Capitol Hill, I'm Christine Frizzell.
That, of course, leads us to today's question of the day. For today's question, we want to know, do you approve of the Biden administration's handling of the crisis at the border? Share your opinion by voting on this poll at Dayton247now.com. Click on the question of the day heading in the news tab. And we do have the results from yesterday's question of the day. We asked, do you think the investigations into Hunter Biden are legitimate or simply political? Of more than 22,000 votes, 75% of you said legitimate. And another percentage, I should say 25% of you said political.
All right, to weather we go, and boy, you step outside and you knew it was going to be one of those days. Rain, rain, and fog.
Yeah, and another day tomorrow like that.
Okay.
And then almost
Another
cut and paste. And the next day after
it's
that.
warmer though.
Yeah, it's not freezing, so that's good news. We wouldn't want this to be coming down as wintry precipitation, or maybe just a little snow. We can take that. But as far as ice, thankfully that threat has ended for us, and now it's just rain. A couple of showers lingering for our southeastern counties, and now we just have clouds and fog. Next weather maker is to our southwest. A lot of moisture basically taking over the state of Arkansas right now. This is heading northeastward, and then we'll actually see another system right behind that making its way in again on Thursday. So several rounds of rain on the way. Tonight, though, plan on fog. Patchy fog, dense at times, with a few showers around the area too. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s. Heading into our Wednesday, becoming overall widespread rain with some heavier rain at times, especially for our southern counties. That's around 11 a.m. We'll continue with the rain tapering off by late into the evening. Wednesday night, early Thursday, another foggy night, but then got more rain building in. Showers become possible again during our day on Thursday. Temperature-wise, we'll be in the 40s and 50s. Does look like we'll finally see a break for our Friday, but got another round on Saturday, too. We'll have a look at that coming up.
Tomorrow, Montgomery County will join communities throughout the state for the annual in-time count of unsheltered homeless. Volunteers canvass the area looking for people sleeping in cars, wooded areas, and abandoned buildings. The goal is to quantify the issue of homelessness on a single night to get adequate resources.
So we are taking this opportunity to engage with these individuals, leave cards, leave items to meet their basic needs while they are unsheltered, and, you know, sleeping bags, tents, things like that.
At last year's count, unsheltered homeless levels rose to pre-pandemic levels.
Community leaders across the Miami Valley are joining together to combat hunger in the area. The Super Bowl of Caring is helping to eliminate child hunger in Dayton. Our partners will be accepting food and monetary donations throughout the area. Those donations will then be distributed to 3 local organizations: the Food Bank, For Love of Children, or Flock, and the House of Bread. You can contribute by taking out your phone, scanning that QR code to make a donation. That donation drive ends February 12th.
So several rounds of rain in the forecast for us. We have more rain making its way in tomorrow. We've already seen a good soaking rain for today, but on top of what we've already seen, an additional inch or so of rainfall, higher totals to the south, maybe up to 1.5 inches of rain, especially for our southern counties. This is through our Friday, but then another round making its way in Saturday into Sunday, adding on to those totals. Could see some totals over 2 inches of rainfall for southeastern counties. And then once colder air takes over, we could potentially see a transition to some snow Saturday and to Sunday as well. So temperature trend next couple of days looking mild and in the 50s. But then notice we get colder back into the upper 30s, which is nothing compared to the cold stretch what we had recently. We'll stay above freezing at least for those highs. But we do have, again, more rain on the way. I'll have a look at that 7-day coming up.
Well, as it starts to warm up a bit, some outdoor activities might be a little bit more fun for the family. Give you a look at the special ice skating events at Riverscape Metro Parks.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Ice skating is a winter must for many. Tage Joshi gives us a look from the ice at some of the special events being held at Riverskate Metro Park.
Ice skating is a staple activity of the wintertime right here in Dayton, and now is the perfect time to do it because you can come down to Riverskate Metro Park and do some ice skating. Let me explain. This is a beautiful ice rink that's open right here in downtown Dayton. They have normal operating hours, and if you're a great skater, you can come out here, or if you're a beginner like me who needs the help of my little green buddy, you can come down here as well. But it's not just during the normal operating hours that you can truly enjoy the ice. I also want to tell you about some of their special events that are happening from now until when they close on March 1st. So this Friday night is their Cosmic Night. It's a space-themed ice skating rink adventure. You can come in your favorite cosmic-y themed costume. You can listen to some space music. And also later on in the season, there's going to be a Taylor Swift themed ice skating night. Lots of fun across the board. And if you want even more fun, they're actually also doing cocktails this year at Riverskate Metro Park. You can come here and enjoy them. You can go to their website for more details about their hours and all the other themed events as well. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, you'll stay dry under the, what is it called? The little awning.
Natalie, do not ask us these questions.
That thing over the ice.
While you're ice skating. And it won't be terribly cold, but it is rainy out there. Here's a look at that morning commute tomorrow. Not only do we have rain, but we also have fog in the forecast. So could be a pretty messy morning commute. I would allow for some extra time. We're going to be looking at temperatures that will be in the 40s. So thankfully, above freezing, we won't be dealing with any ice. And then soggy conditions Wednesday, Thursday, quiet on Friday, rain on Saturday, and then with colder air arriving, we could see a transition to some snow Saturday into Sunday. Doesn't look like anything too significant right now, but that's our next winter weather potential that I'll be tracking. But thankfully, it doesn't get bitterly cold. We drop into the 30s. Our lows drop below freezing, but you know, we've seen worse.
We're a little all over the place.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that thing over the ice. That's all I'm. That's
What,
all I'm
thank
saying.
good- oh, the
Especially
thing,
this
the
week,
thing.
it's got that thing.
Yeah.
Listen,
I mean, it keeps you dry.
It does. It
It's
keeps you dry.
A big umbrella. I don't know.
Don't
Over
even
on
know
Fox.
what